Hello and welcome to Super OK, where we try to do a decent enough job to entertain people with our opinions on video games. As always, my name is Dale, and I am joined here by two absolutely firebrands of humans. We've got Zando. Welcome back, Zando.
Thanks for bringing me back.
It's like you're official. I brought you back like the mighty phoenix.
Yes, I will rise from these flames in ashes. I don't know, man. I'm tired.
He's an egg.
I was going to say, does that mean he'd bring himself back? Is this some weird like Zandomancy that we're doing?
Yeah, Zandomancy. That's it.
That's
First try. Nailed it.
Very good.
That other voice that you heard there was Brody. Brody, how are you?
Oh, hey, it's me. Just inventing things like Zandomancy. We'll see what happens next. I'll raise all kinds of shit from the dead. Canomancy.
I invented Zandomancy. You just named it.
Fair.
Okay.
You can have it.
I like
better
that.
be able to have
You
it.
can have it.
I like that a lot. I invented it, but you named it. That's great. That's perfect. Speaking of perfect, let's talk about our highlight of the week. Something that made our week a little bit closer to perfect, a little bit better, a little bit nicer to live in.
I'll go ahead and go first because it was a reason why I was kind of whiny about wanting to do the recording.
The fact that you said kind of is so generous to yourself. I cannot believe it.
Mhm.
All right. So, but this is the most on-brand thing in the world for me. So, at the time of recording, the early access for Diablo 4 just hit a couple days ago. So I've been obviously like head down playing Diablo when I'm not working and doing other like real life stuff, and it's real good. And I just want to play the game. So yeah, we're really enjoying it. Mara and I have been doing some of the main plot quest stuff together, but there's just so much stuff to do in that game. They've really expanded it to make it more like a riff on Destiny or something like that uses the kind of shared world, and they have world events and things like that. And you earn currency that you can spend to buy, to roll on random items and stuff. So the game seems great so far. A bunch of people I think in the Discord and that are affiliated with the podcast are playing it. Although I know that, that we don't necessarily as a group share the endorsement of it. So I get that. But anyways, it's been real good so far. And I feel like this is a long time coming for me, having D3 be my favorite game of all time. So I'm enjoying it greatly.
Yeah.
That seemed like a real I'm not racist, but
this is a very different thing, right? Speaking from the other side of this issue, everyone is fighting their own battles.
Yes,
Everybody chooses which battles they want to fight, right? And so I totally get it. Yeah. I wish Bobby Kotick wasn't an employee at Blizzard anymore.
So do I.
So that way I could purchase this game and feel good about it. Other people can purchase this game knowing that most of their money is going elsewhere.
Yeah.
And they're supporting the people who created a game franchise that they love. I definitely this is one of those few scenarios where I definitely understand both sides of it. I just can't buy it and feel morally good about it. But I totally understand people who can. And I am very glad that it is good. I am curious if you've spent any money in the real cash shop to buy a horse or something.
So here's the thing. They have the real money shop, which is just as you'd expect. It's like, you can spend $100 best value at a time on in-game whatever doubloons or something. But no, I haven't spent anything. To be honest with you, nothing is cool enough in my mind to justify it. The Necromancer, I think, has the coolest cosmetics in the real money store right now, but I'm playing as a sorcerer, so that doesn't matter for me. There is one cool bit of horse armor where they made it's called the weight of gold or something. Oh yeah, horse armor, baby, let's do it.
Just the look of anger that slowly went over Dale's face was so good.
Which is completely,
I know it's an audio
justified.
medium, and I'm sorry about that, but man,
the long shadow of Todd Howard. No, but it's a weird gold cogwork horse, and that's kind of cool, but it's not worth though. I think it's $25, which is crazy. So, but the good news is you don't have to buy it. So I won't be buying it. I'm a little bit worried. My wife, who is sitting behind me playing, will buy it, but we'll see.
Now, here's a question. This game was $60 on launch.
Mm.
It has
for the normies, yeah, I bought the I want to play it a week early version, which was $80.
Okay. It has a real money cosmetic shop.
Yeah.
And it has a battle pass. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. That's coming in a couple of months. Yeah. The season stuff doesn't start for a while yet.
Okay. And the seasons will coincide with battle passes, much like a Destiny or whatnot.
Yeah. I think the Destiny is probably overall the model they're going for, which is just they want to make a persistent world / MMO adjacent live service game that they can kind of have a sub fee and charge people a sub fee for. So
I definitely thought you were going to say they want to make buckets of money. So
yes, absolutely.
Good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. You said that you're playing as a sorcerer. How far along are you? What level are you?
I'm as far as the whole Mel's clan and stuff is way ahead of me. The Josh group and Mel group are at level 50 or beyond right now. I'm only at level 30.
Okay.
I'm just getting out of Act 1.
Nice. Very cool. I'm glad you are enjoying it. I hope you continue to do so. And I hope that the cash shop / season pass isn't egregious in the future. $25 for horse armor is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. You're not wrong.
Oh, man. All right. I will go next. My highlight of the week is, speaking of Mel, a game that Mel recommended to me. It's a game called Chicory, A Colorful Tale.
Hey.
I've been streaming it for the last week. It is just an absolute delight. It is a puzzly adventure game. There's very, very little combat in it. And you are a painter in a world where all of the color has been sucked out of it, and you solve puzzles by bringing color back to the world. And it's just an absolute delight. It handles mental health issues and LGBTQ issues really, really well. The story is just I want to say perfect, but I haven't completely beaten it, so I'm not going to say that. But it's been really, really good so far. And the mechanics and stuff like that have just been so inventive and so amazing. I can't wait to get back to it. Really good news. It was also just added to Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you play Chicory at no USDs. And I turned Ange onto it last night, and she played it for 4 hours straight last night. So it's the sort of game literally anybody can play. It's awesome. I'm not implying that Ange can only play games literally anyone can play, but it doesn't feature jumping, which means that she's got a leg up because she has difficulty with jumping.
Although one of her favorite games is Binding of Isaac, which I can't play. So she's, way beyond me when most games are concerned.
Right. But Isaac, no jumping.
No jumping. That's true. I do have a question for you about Chicory, though. So I actually haven't been watching the stream because I want to play through Chicory. Mm-hmm. How long do you think you've been playing it for? 2 streams, 3 streams?
I have played it for 2 streams, which means I've played it for about 8 hours so far. And my gut feeling is I'm going to finish it in the next one.
Okay, so probably around 10 to 12 hour total play time.
That's my gut. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Unless you want to do the thing where you go around and you pick up every piece of litter and you find all of the lost kids and that sort of thing.
Okay. But if you just want to do the game and experience the story, probably 10 to 12. Cool.
Yeah. And by the way, neither of those were euphemisms or ha 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 lost kids. No, you're really going around and finding lost children and picking up litter from the ground. It's great. Those are the actual collectibles in the game.
Okay. Fair enough.
Game's funny. Game's very funny. All right. Xando, what's your highlight?
My highlight is so this is going to sound weird. I'm setting up for a different highlight with what I'm saying right now. My wife has been gone for a church conference for this weekend, which means I've been solo parenting all week. Not babysitting because I am the biological father, solo parenting. And so her mother lives with us as well. So my mother-in-law is almost like a third kid right now. And so I have been on for the past 2 days parenting all 3 of them. And today my sister-in-law came over and has taken over the kids. So I was able to get up this morning, make breakfast, and go right the fuck back to sleep. And it was
strong maneuver.
Glorious.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice.
So just after kind of roughing it on my own and overextending myself, keeping the kids busy so that they will take naps so that I can also take naps during the day. has been a lot to do. And so it's just great to have reinforcements again and being able to be my own person for a couple hours. So that being said, we are going to a carnival later today, so that might be another high point, but it hasn't happened yet, so it doesn't count. And tomorrow I've got reinforcements because I work for a church, and Sundays are a long work day for me. So I'm just excited to have somebody to help out while my wife is away.
Nice. Carnival, are you going to elephant ear? Or are you going deep fried cheese on a stick? What's your carnival snack of choice?
Ooh.
Well, I think tickets to the rides are going to be way expensive. So my snack of choice is probably just going to be a water bottle that I bring with me because ain't nobody got dollars for all the carnival stuff. But in a perfect world, probably the elephant ears, man.
Yeah.
I love me an elephant ear.
It's been a minute since I've gone to a carnival, what with the pandemic and everything.
Right.
And so do they still do wristbands? Because that was always my move. You just get the wristband, you go on the Gravitron until they kick you off.
They do. And I was trying to find out how much they're charging. And apparently pre-sale prices, if you bought before May 1st, or before May 31st, I should say, were $25, which I'm like, that's not bad to be able to ride all that stuff. But then I remember as a parent, that's multiplied by how many children you have.
Right.
So $75 for possibly 2 hours is like too much for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's crazy.
So I'm like, oh yeah, we should totally get wristbands until I realize how many wristbands I need.
Yeah.
So we're probably just gonna figure out what the price is to ride like the super slide and take them on the carousel, and Helen really wants to do the Ferris wheel this year. So we'll see how much that's gonna go, and if I'm gonna miss on paying for groceries next week, yeah, maybe that's the price I pay. Maybe we don't eat and we just live off the thrills,
Sorry, kids, no food this week. How was that slide ride?
Well, by bringing your own water bottle, though, you're going to be saving at least like $8 a head or something.
Yeah,
the water prices are outrageous at those things.
Yeah.
Now,
on Fridays after dinner time, since my kids are young, we do like a half hour of movies before we go to bed. And so since, again, my wife's away, I thought, hey, it'd be really cool. Let's go to the movie theater downtown, grab like real movie theater popcorn and come back home and watch a movie. And I'm driving downtown and my daughter sees the Ferris wheel. She's like, Carnival's here. And I was like, damn it. Like this is such a good idea until this minute right now, because I could have gotten away with it.
Oh man, that's amazing. Now, you're taking a water bottle because you got to stay hydrated because it's going to be hot out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that is because it is summertime, which means carnivals and also unbearable heat and people spending time around rock piles that they have filled with smoldering sticks because a bonfire is happening and the sun is out, and much like in the Mario games, it is trying to kill you. And so we figured what better time to jump out of the frying pan into the fire and then get out of the kitchen, because we cannot stand the heat mechanics in games. Let's talk about them. What is your favorite fire mechanic in a video game? What makes it so good? And if you have more than one worth mentioning, throw that one out too.
That was a lot to unpack, by the way. I'm glad that you added some to my intro, which wasn't that good. For me, the couple things that came to mind when I was putting this together was, the first thing right away was Little Inferno. And if you guys haven't played Little Inferno, it's literally just a game where you're inside of a fireplace and you get shit to burn. And that's the entire game, is you're just burning stuff in a fireplace. So it's
great.
Unbelievably satisfying. It's a fun little one to play. It's the same folks who did, I think, World of Goo and I think HR Resource Machine or something. They've done a bunch of those iOS games that are pretty good. So anyways, that's a game that's literally just designed around that. It's a lot of fun. I think otherwise it's probably going to be, and I was just talking about this before the pod, that I hate to be the person who's like the cult of the new, but it's so hard. I know that Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom just launched. It's so hard not to talk about the fire mechanics in those games, because they also introduce all kind of mobility options, because you can use a flaming arrow to light grass on fire, and the updraft to then fly in your glider. And like, there's all kinds of really satisfying fire-based mechanics for those. I do want to give a quick shout out. For whatever reason, a couple months back, probably because I'm just a fan of the franchise, I picked up Far Cry 6 on a pretty big discount. And I was playing through some of the intro missions, and one of the final ones before the game really lets you go is a mission where they give you a flamethrower. They throw on some like really good authentic Cuban jazz and put you at a plantation and are just like, burn everything to the ground, kill all the people here, burn everything. It is fucking incredible. It's incredibly satisfying. It's an A+ mission design, because it also leans into the like, you know, crazy regime using this plant that they're harvesting on these plantations for like kind of slave-ish labor and stuff like that. So it feels real good to burn that motherfucker to the ground, let me tell you. So those are going to be my calls.
Well, if you are the cult of the new, then get ready for the cult of the old here, because a lot of my answers today are going to be retro. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I used to host a retro gaming podcast, so that's my area of expertise. The first one that jumped to mind was the Flame Sword from Mega Man 8. Now, I don't love Mega Man 8. I'm like a huge Mega Man fan. 8 is probably one of my least favorite of the original series, but I do dig this weapon. It was a kind of a cool addition to the normal long range weapon set that Mega Man has. And I loved using it when he was introduced in Smash Brothers. So it's just a cool weapon to use there, and the way the environment interacts with it, and the way you could hit I believe it was Searchman with that weapon, and he would just like catch on fire and be useless for a few minutes, was pretty awesome. And as lame as it sounds, the lantern in Link to the Past has become one of my new favorite items that I'm so excited to get. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in context of the original game, but in randomizers, man, you don't realize how much you need that lantern until you don't have it and you walk into a dark dungeon and you can't see anything, including your sprite. So there are some times where you have to walk around, and I'll pull up like a map on my on my second monitor and hope that I'm following it correctly to get through to the area that I need. But then if there's enemies in there, you never know what's going to happen. So especially in Link to the Past randomizers, man, the lantern and having that light around you so you can at least see a little bit of where you're going is super great.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That's a really good call out. I have always been a big fan of fire in the Far Cry games, especially 2 and 3. It spreads so fast. It is always ultra dangerous to use, but it is also incredibly effective. It's like you throw you shoot something that explodes and suddenly everything's on fire and fire's spreading everywhere and enemies are on fire. But it's like you could also be on fire. It could surround you. Like, it was always really dangerous, which is great because fire should always feel dangerous when you're using it, right? It should feel like it almost has a mind of its own, and it definitely does in the Far Cry game. So big fan of it there.
It's also a nice contrast to the malaria that you have in Far Cry 2 that you keep having to get treated for.
Yes, that's true.
I need water to quench that fire and that butthole.
Yep.
Oh, I guess that's how you treat malaria. I don't know.
Throwing water on a butthole?
You sure? Yeah.
You are not a doctor. All right. What is your?
It's actually one of the leading practices in Zandomancy.
Oh man. Sometimes, you know.
All right. What's your favorite fire level? Flame level, lava level, just a hot place in a video game. What's your favorite one?
I mean, there's a couple here that I had to take. So Norfair from Super Metroid. Sorry, Dale, because I think that's gonna take one from you. But I'm just
gonna take my only one. It's my favorite one by far. But no, it's fine. Keep talking.
No, but just Norfair from Super Metroid is great. I'll let Dale elaborate further. I always really liked Lethal Lava Land from Mario 64. I know that it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I think because my experience with Mario 64 was always like, my buddy and I would get together and we'd have these like weekend sleepovers. We'd be like, oh, we're going to beat Mario 64. We're going to get all 120 stars. And I feel like I played, especially the earlier levels. And I think that one is like early, middle. I played it so many times. So I just really enjoyed it, where you like throw the horn guy into the lava and everything. Like, I thought that was pretty fun. And then I'm just going to give a shout out to one of the dungeons from Final Fantasy 14, which is the Amarat dungeon. I think we're far enough away from the Shadowbringers expansion that we could probably throw a mild spoiler in. But if you don't want to hear it, then I'll take a break for a minute here. But I mean, it's the last dungeon of that expansion, and you literally play a recreation of the apocalypse, and it is fucking awesome because just the entire planet is burning, and it's just wild. You feel like they made it probably the first major cinematic dungeon in the game, and it was awesome. Clay was telling me when before I hit it, he was like, you're this is going to blow you away. And I didn't really know why. I thought it was going to be like whatever the set pieces and stuff, but not necessarily that it just felt like you were living through the end of the world, which was totally insane. So that's going to be my last one. I will tell you that it's not going to be Volcano Manor from Elden Ring, because fuck that place. I remember a couple of the streams I actually watched Dale playing in Volcano Manor, and you were, I think, having a better time than I was. I fucking hated that place. God,
the platforming in that area requires you to be so precise, or you just die. You there's no you lost a little bit. You just die. Yeah, and all of your souls or whatever, the runes or whatever, are where you died at, which means you can't get them again, or you die. It's just a bad time all around.
And also they do that thing where if you're like me and you find something, I try not to be completionist, but there are certain things I can't ignore. And they have that one fucking whatever they call the dragon that's has the sword. And they put it in the corner, right next to the lava lake with this much fucking land. You're I have to kill this thing, but it's on this much fucking it's terrible. I died at that thing 1,000 times.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It was a real pain in the ass. It was a real pain in the ass. Speaking of pain in the ass, you called out Lethal Lava Land from Mario 64, and I want to go on record. I've only played the remakes. I don't have the nostalgia for it, but I fucking hate in Mario 64 where when you land in the lava, you jump up holding your butt that's on fire and run around for a little bit.
Because the running around for a little bit, by the way, is I think the second, he can correct me, this is the second tenet of Zandomancy.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably.
You splash the butthole with water and then run around.
It's a precursor to the water in the butthole, because that's when you need to use that spell.
My bad. Out of order.
Yeah.
Classic fuck up. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I just hate it
that's
because
true.
It takes agency away from you.
Yes. It often will run you right back into the fucking fire. And that
was the thing I was just about to say. It's fucking ridiculous. You just get caught up in a loop. It's bullshit.
That's a fair piece of that's about 60% of the time it'll land you back in the lava.
Yes. I want to talk about Upper Norfair because I think it perfectly encapsulates what makes a fire level great. The fact that just being there can kill you and will if you're not paying attention. The fact that it makes you go through it a little bit before you have the means to deal with it. We'll talk about that a little bit later, so that you really get that sense of danger while you're there. That is exactly what I want from a fire level, without it being without it feeling cheap, or without it feeling oh, if you touch the lava, you die. I want the sense of danger, but I don't want the stakes to be so high that it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Right. Plus the was Upper Norfair the place that you encounter the boss that crawls out of the lava and then kind of dies in the lava and still
Crocomire.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Crocomire. Okay. Yeah. Badass boss too.
Very cool boss. Xander, what's your answer?
He's not trying to fight you so much as he's trying to break that wall down for you, and you just shoot him and you kill him. And then he's still, being the good guy he is, breaks the wall down for you anyway. Just a misunderstood guy, that Crocomire. For me,
I'm just the villain this episode, I guess.
As much as I wanted to say Norfair, because you're right, that's just such a good answer. I thought of the Lost City from Shovel Knight, and probably just because that song is so good. But riding the bugs through the fire and the different fire enemies that showed up, just was a lot of fun. And then I also thought of Turtle Rock from Link's Awakening, which was a whole fire level, which always had me trying to do the room skip glitch and play around with Rock's feathers so I could avoid all the lava pools. And if you weren't exactly right on that, pushing the blocks and then trying to make the floor for yourself, it could be a pretty tedious dungeon, but I did like how difficult it was. So Turtle Rock, and you have to have the mirror shield to get through. There's so much fire in that place. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good call out, man. Shovel Knight also, like, what a good game. You talked about Lost City, and it just made me think about like all of the different biomes in that game. Every one of them fucking just slaps. It's so good. If you haven't played Shovel Knight and you're listening to this, go play Shovel Knight. Stop whatever you're doing. I don't care. You could be driving, pull over. You could be nursing. The baby can wait. Like, play Shovel Knight. All right. So what about fire-based enemies? What are our favorite fire-based enemies? I'm going first on this one because this might be cheating, but I'm going to say Diablo. Like, the end boss of all of the Diablo games. Diablo. They always use fire. They're always intimidating as hell, pun intended. And it's always just like not always, but usually a very epic fight, right? Like, one's not nearly as epic as the later ones, but still, it's like the culmination of the game. It's always great. Also, I want to talk about Pyro from the X-Men arcade game and how much of a pain in the ass he was. But again, a very iconic boss fight, specifically because of the like bursts of fire that he lets out. Just a really good fight.
So I do appreciate the Diablo call out. And I will say that, like, even though I love Diablo 3 so much, I thought that the actual Diablo, like Lord of Terror part of that game was like, okay. Like, I thought that their deployment of the character was fine, but I thought the fight was like, all right. This is something that Ganon wasn't happy with my takes on this either. So it might just be a me thing. But
the shadow thing was really cool.
Banishes you to like the shadow realm.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Maybe it just was I've never had a problem with the graphical style, but I could see maybe that affecting that. It doesn't matter. I thought that Diablo 2 did a really good job of like the giant hulking, like menacing in the like pentagram of fire Diablo theme. They went really hard at it, and I thought that was pretty cool.
I think the problem with Diablo and Diablo 3 is that it's not the coolest boss fight. Belial is without question the coolest boss fight.
It's definitely the best. Yeah, the best set piece for a fight, because it's the one that, I mean, it's I think the only time in the game the perspective actually changes.
Yeah. So like Belial, I think it's just overshadowed, but mechanic wise, I really liked it. So
yeah,
but I guess me and
they do have even Diablo notwithstanding, they do have all kinds of really interesting like demon designs and stuff that they incorporate around hell. So there's obviously plenty of that. But anyways, my answer was not going to be Diablo. I think the first thing that came to mind for me was Ifrit from Final Fantasy series. Just has always been awesome, and I think that like it's. Whenever it would show up, especially in the later games, even starting back from like Final Fantasy VII with the kind of polygonal graphics and everything, it was still cool to see Ifrit show up and throw that giant meteor down. And then the complete reimagining of the character for Final Fantasy 15 as like this bored kind of king figure sitting in this throne and just like melting an entire city was completely fucking badass.
Yeah.
That whole last stretch for Final Fantasy 15 was really goddamn epic. And then actually, I'm going to go back on my statement slightly about Volcano Manor, because I will include the God-devouring serpent, who does have some fire-based attacks in Elden Ring, is the kind of the boss of that area. That fight is fucking wild. The character design is outrageous. And that fight, I feel like, it goes very, very poorly until you realize what you're supposed to be doing with the spear or whatever at the beginning. And then it goes better. But like until then, for me, it was like all I would do was run in and die immediately. Every time there's a fire everywhere. But once I figured that out, things got better real quick.
I realized the spear, I still couldn't beat that guy. I still
really?
Like I have left. I will come back eventually. It's an optional boss, but that guy. It is definitely the wildest fight. That's not Radahn that I've encountered so far. So
I was actually on the fence about putting Radahn, but the only thing he does that's fire related is the meteor thing,
turned into
which
a
is
fucking
the coolest thing he does.
Yeah,
for the record, but like I've said that my story about just falling over laughing when dying to Radahn the first time, so I'll save that. I just told the story. I'm done talking.
Great story.
Well, for me, it took everything in my being to not just list all of the fire themed robot masters from Mega Man, because I felt like so many of my other answers were from Mega Man. So I went with bombs from Final Fantasy. They're a little bit annoying, they're a little bit scary, but they're super cute. So I have always loved some of the simple classic designs of those enemies that show up in the Final Fantasy series, as well as just any kind of iconic enemies. I always tend to love. Also, the fire dragon, or the lava dragon from Super Mario World that would pop up and just go at you, whose name was appropriately Blarg, which I just assumed that's what he was saying when I was a kid. So yeah, I always think of Blarg and his little eyeballs popping up and looking for you before he jumps out at you. So
his little weird googly eyeballs, I love them.
Yep.
So do you have sorry, I'm going to take you up on your offer here to talk about Mega Man for another second. Of the Robot Masters, do you have like a favorite or like a top 2 or some top 3?
Boomer Quanger.
Boomer Kuwanger is not fire themed. All right. That was Flame Mammoth. I mean, Heat Man, it's hard to not go with Heat Man, the little Zippo lighter looking guy.
The OG.
Yeah, I'd probably say he's pretty great. I always think of Shadow Man as a fire based, because his level is like all lava from Mega Man 3, but he's just a ninja and throws shurikens. Otherwise, I probably would put him as one of my favorites. Man, Fireman in the first game is just an iconic design with the flamethrowers on his hands and the flames that go over his head, and the shredder cool mouth cover thing is always really cool. And then from Mega Man X2, Flame Stag is the one that I always think of right off the top of my head. At the volcano level, you had to race the lava up and out of it, and then he was just fast, although he died to bubbles, which is kind of lame, but he was still really cool, and his attack was a cool thing to gave you like an extra air dash. Sorry, you asked me to talk about Mega Man, and then I gushed. I'm sorry.
No, that's thank you for answering my question.
You find gushing is another key part of Sandomancy. All right. So fire-based weapons and abilities can sometimes be some of the strongest in video games. What are a few of your favorite fire-based attacks?
Well, my first thought went to Flamethrower from Pokemon. It's always a pretty safe bet, as if you're trying to find something to round out your Pokemon. It's a good one to throw in there. Yep. No pun intended. And you'd be surprised how many different Pokemon can learn it. Things you wouldn't think could learn Flamethrower can learn Flamethrower. Does pretty decent damage, even if you don't have a strong special attack stat, and always has a chance to burn, which is also good.
Quick, give me an example of one Pokemon I wouldn't think could learn Flamethrower. Is it like ridiculous? Can like Blastoise learn Flamethrower?
I don't think Blastoise can. I think of like ground types that randomly learn Flamethrower. I think Hippowdon can learn it. So, it's always a cool counter to throw out. There are some other really weird. I think Starmie can learn Flamethrower. I could be wrong. And I'm sure your brother is just yelling at his phone right now as I'm saying all this dumb stuff.
Yeah.
We love you, Kevin.
Yeah.
If you know of a weird Pokemon that can learn Flamethrower, put it in the Discord.
Yeah. Tell me how dumb I am for saying that Starmie can learn it. I might be thinking of Thunderbolt. Anyway. My other backup one is Flare Blitz, again from Pokemon, because I just love, like, if you're going to deal damage, you may as well deal so much damage that you also hurt yourself. But there's also a strong chance that you're going to kill your enemy, so that's really good.
Nice.
Also, shout out to Ken Shoryuken for having flames. I always thought that was a cool touch for him.
Yeah, if you didn't talk about Ken Shoryuken, I was gonna, because it's always interesting to me how it's like, this guy is the master of the Hadouken, this guy is the master of the Shoryuken, but they both do both. It's cool. It's fine. If you want to hear more about that, last week's episode was on Street Fighter. Go listen to that one. Anyway, I want to talk about Lilith's phase walk ability in Borderlands 1. It was insane. Depending on your build, it would break the game in literal half. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like, you could press a button and every enemy that you could see was on fire and then dead and then ash and then their bones like blow away in the wind. It was ridiculously powerful. The other ridiculously powerful weapon is the flamethrower in Hotline Miami. It is insanely strong.
Was that in the first one?
I think it was in 1 and 2, but I don't know. They kind of blend together for me.
I don't remember there being a flamethrower in Hotline Miami.
It was definitely in 2 because I remember one of the characters, I don't remember which one, like started with it.
Ooh,
But
wow.
it was crazy, and it was a one-hit kill for basically anything in the game. The only downside to it was it couldn't break through windows, so you'd have to break a window first to shoot a flamethrower through it. But man, it was insane. I loved it.
So I'm gonna piggyback off Dale's answer a little bit here, which is I'm gonna add for his Borderlands 1 thing and just call out the Spitfire SMG, the legendary SMG you can get. That then when you couple it with all the other stuff with the Firehawk skill tree, is just I've said this before. It seems like the most broken build I've ever played in a game. It's just too good.
It's like they didn't play test it, and then when it was found in the wild, they were just like, it's fine.
Right. They were like, we're not going to balance this. It just is what it is. It's so good. I think aside from that, one of my all-time favorites, I've fucking always loved the Hunter Golden Gun from Destiny and Destiny 2. It feels so good to use. I know as a Hunter main, like, I'm used to bringing the Celestial Nighthawk, which like consolidates all the shots into one like giant death ray sort of thing.
One ultra shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is a number of weapons in Destiny that I think that do the fire thing pretty okay. I think there's some other elements that are done better. I also haven't played Destiny in years at this point, which is funny because I feel like one of the first like 15 podcast episodes we did was how much we love Destiny 2, and now I haven't played it in like 3 years.
Yeah,
but
things change.
Is what it is. I think aside from that, it was fun. I know that I was ragging on Diablo for like not really being true to kind of the elements and stuff, and like if you could do fire damage against the fire elemental thing, and it doesn't matter. But when you do get some of the sets and stuff like the Firebird set, and you use abilities like Disintegrate and Meteor and stuff like that, it feels fucking awesome just because you're just spreading fire all over the place. I just love those builds in D3, like the Witch Doctor Haunt builds that you just spread like all these crazy dots all over the place. So the Firebird set used Disintegrate to just use like a laser wand all over and light people on fire. Super, super fun. Loved it.
You bringing up Destiny reminds me that I totally forgot about the most insane fire-based ability, which was that if you were a fire warlock in Destiny 1, your super was that you could literally resurrect yourself like a phoenix.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that, too.
It was absolutely insane. And after resurrecting yourself, you had like a damage buff and unlimited grenades and like all this other crazy shit that was going on. That is without question the most powerful ability because they didn't account for it in the game. And so like you could cheese shit because everyone in your party could die, and then you would resurrect yourself and all of the enemies have despawned in certain areas. And so it's just like, nope, we don't care. Yeah. Like you are now invincible and like all this ridiculous shit. God, I forgot about that.
And there was that was the obvious reason why they didn't port that over to Destiny 2, because they replaced it with the like flaming sword, right? So the warlocks like fly all over the place with the flaming sword as the alt. Although I'm just gonna say this. I do think the best alt was always Thunder Crash for the Titans. That was so much fun to use.
Where you just turn yourself into a meteor.
You're just a missile. Yeah.
Save it for the Thunder episode, Brody.
All right. Sorry. I'll bring it back.
Oh, no, and I'll bring back Starmie for the Thunder episode because I was definitely wrong about that. Neither Starmie nor Hippodon can learn flamethrower, but you know who can? Lickitung.
I thought it was going to be Lickitung for some reason. It makes no sense, but I thought that's where we were going.
How about Gyarados can learn flamethrower?
Ooh, that actually makes sense because he is a dragon. The fact that he's not a dragon type is a travesty.
Snorlax learns flamethrower. Yep.
He's just going to burn his house down.
He probably will.
That was a dumb joke. Sorry.
I don't know why that got me so much. Why does Snorlax have a house in this story?
I don't know.
Well, he got tired of sleeping on paths. He had to go somewhere else. So he got himself a house and then accidentally burned it down by using flamethrower in his sleep. He used sleep talk. It just had no control over. RNG really fucked up Snorlax's house.
Oh, there we go. That's a D&D idea, Dale. Narcoleptic pyromancer.
What's
Or
the
a
most?
narcoleptic Xanda dancer or Xandamancer. Xandamancer is also a different class you can play. It can only play it on light up tiles in an arcade, but it's
Man, I can't wait for all the for the Xando variant episode. It's going to be
Yeah.
very exciting. I'm going to learn so much.
Hold me
last
closer,
one that's
Xander
weird.
Dancer.
Jigglypuff.
Oh, that makes no
Jigglypuff can learn
sense.
flamethrower.
That makes no sense.
Oh man, I almost got. I'm
Wait,
so
no,
bad at
it makes
Pokemon.
perfect sense. Jigglypuff sings. Rapping's a form of singing. He spits out fire.
Ooh,
Got
There
there.
you go.
Oof.
Got it. Nailed it.
Dial on, Jigglypuff.
Well, you did a better job than me. My thought, because I'm not a Pokemon guy, was he's going to cook the egg. Because I was thinking of what? Chansey? Who has the
Yeah.
egg?
Which Chansey does also learn flamethrower.
He's going to cook the egg.
Cook himself, baby. If you ate yourself, would you be twice as large or would you disappear completely? All right, let's move on. Are there times that fire things are just too annoying? Talk to me about infuriating fire mechanics. I want to talk about any side-scrolling beat 'em up where the whole level is on fire and you just have to avoid it, but the enemies can walk through it, and they will inevitably just fucking chill in a bonfire. They'll just stand there, meaning that you have to go into the flames to hit them out of it, but that means you are essentially hurting yourself, and it's always a feel-bad moment. I hate it so much. Please make fire mechanics, if you're building a game, make the fire mechanics consistent. Enemies should be on fire if the fire sets you on fire. If the fire doesn't set you on fire, it's fine. That's my ask. Every game developer out there who is listening, and I know you're listening,
They
it's
all
a simple request. It's a simple request.
That's
In a similar vein, in Street Fighter V, Dalsim had a V skill that could, or rather a V trigger that lit the floor on front of him in fire. And if you got into it, you would take passive burning damage, which as a Zangief main, like I have to get close to you, so I inevitably had to walk through it. Kind of similar to the beat 'em ups thing. The enemy's just chilling right there by his fire, not having any damage. Meanwhile, I'm taking, small damage, but damage nonetheless that I could have otherwise avoided, just to get there and grab you and throw you into the ground.
Yeah.
This might seem counterintuitive, but getting a fire flower in any Mario game where flight or slow fall is an option. Super Mario World, why are there even fire flowers? I just want the cape all the time.
Okay.
Super Mario Land, I want the bunny ears. I don't want a fire flower. I don't have to worry about this random ball that's bouncing, it's unreliable, and sometimes I'm running and I realize I need to throw it out too late, and then I lose the fire power up anyway. Get it out of here. I don't want that.
That is a good call.
And then in Earthbound, there were certain enemies that, if they were fire based, would burst into flames when you beat them. So you're thinking, oh, I got out of this battle unscathed. Nope, they blew up and dealt damage to you before the battle ended. And sometimes it killed your party member.
Oh, God, what a good call out, Xando. I always hate that shit. If an enemy is fire based and it explodes when you kill it, it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, just supposed to run? Like, what's the deal? Bullshit.
Right? Like I think of like some of the enemies in Hollow Knight that in the green field or the Greenlands where they would blow up after you beat them, but you had a chance to hit them and run away. And like, that's fine if I can get away, but Earthbound, you're just, I took damage. Great. Now I have to heal, even though I beat this enemy pretty handily.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah, that sucks. I think for me, it's going to be any, the ones that are the most pain in the ass for me are the ones where it's like, Breath of the Wild, for example, where you have to light the like Sheikah torches and stuff, or the like for the research center, where you have to like, and it's always raining or something dumb like that, or you fucking stepped in the wrong thing and you drop the torch, or you get your glider out or something. Like, I absolutely hated doing those things. The first one you do in Hiteno Town is not bad. It's still kind of a pain in the ass, but it's not that bad if you plan it correctly. The other one that you do up in Akala is the fucking worst, where you have enemies all over the place and like, ugh.
Are you talking about the thing where it's like you got to get the blue flame from torch
yeah, it's
to
exactly
torch?
what I'm talking about.
That is what made me quit Breath of the Wild the first time I played it.
It sucks. Yeah, I don't blame you. That sucks. That whole thing sucks. I did it because I figured I had to. But anyways, that in an otherwise like nearly perfect game, I hate shit like that. The other thing that's a pain in the ass is I played a bunch of Sea of Thieves, and there's a whole region called the Devil's Roar. And as you'd expect, there are volcanoes all over the place. So sometimes you'll accept a quest and it'll be like, oh, go to this island of the Devil's Roar and dig up a bunch of treasure. Well, you could do that, but the problem is that you're going to have like flaming rocks falling from volcanoes that are going to erupt all over the place. Sometimes those are going to light your boat on fire because now there's all kinds of enhanced ship mechanics that have to do with like, oh, my mast can fall over when it's taken enough flaming damage and stuff. So it sucks.
But honestly, that reminds me, Sea of Thieves is a game where the fire mechanics are like really good.
They are
like really, really good
when they're not happening to you. So it's always really satisfying to like take the flame like grenade and like throw it on somebody else's ship. That's fun. Being on the receiving end, not so much.
But here's the thing. Even when you're on the receiving end, it immediately throws your boat into chaos, right? Because it's like
Complete
people are
chaos.
like, hey, I need to grab water so that I can put this fire out. Also, like shit's like fire should make chaos. And Sea of Thieves makes that happen immensely well. So really good call out there.
Yeah, it does. That's true.
Yeah. Flip the script. Unlike Sea of Thieves, where you just have a bucket and water, what games give you the best ways to deal with fire? And I'm going to talk about Super Metroid again here because we talked about Upper Norfair. They give you a Varia suit to deal with the ambient heat eventually. So it lets you know that it's dangerous, but then it gives you a way to deal with that danger. You can now explore it. It opens the area up for you. It makes it really, like any other area in the game. And then later on, you can get an ice beam that can freeze any fiery enemies. And that's really cool, too. So I'm going to go Super Metroid. What about you guys?
I was out of school, and I'm going to jump back into gushing about Mega Man here using my Zandomancy spells. In Mega Man X, when you finish Launch Octopus's level before going to Flame Mammoth stage, which is like a weapons manufacturing plant with lava everywhere, it would extinguish all the flames in there. So you could walk through what would normally kill you with a bunch of lava. So I guess that counts.
It does. That's cool.
Yeah, there were a couple other things where like if you finish the levels in a certain order, other levels were affected by what happened. So you crash a giant airship in one and it knocks out the power in another one. So it's just a bunch of really cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know about any of that, but that's blowing my mind now. That's just awesome. I think for me, well, we're going with things that we know here. So back to the Cult of the New here. I'm going to go with Tears of the Kingdom. It's been really enjoyable to mess around with. Not only the splash fruits or whatever that you can throw and extinguish fire or to create platforms and stuff, but also the and hopefully this is long enough way out from the launch that's not much of a spoiler, but the hydrant thing that the Zonai technology that you can mess around with is pretty entertaining and provides you with some really interesting options. The other thing that came to mind, which was just really unconventional, but I thought was really creative, was the like water arrows that you could get in Thief back in the day, where you could extinguish the torches and the candles and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
That is cool.
And that's an idea that I could be totally wrong. So please correct me in the Discord if I'm wrong about this. But not many games have utilized that kind of stealth mechanic where you can actually just straight up extinguish a light in an area by shooting like a water arrow specifically is kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
So that was an early deployment of the idea. I liked it a lot.
That's cool. Now, I'm not yet playing Tears of the Kingdom. What does the hydrant do?
I am playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I haven't made it to that yet, so it's all on you.
What do you think it does?
I'm gonna guess it causes fire, and then clocks go through the fire. Oh, wait, no, that's something else. Never mind. That's Melvin Einstein's theory of Bebedebedy, but that's for another conversation.
No, it's a fire hydrant. It shoots water.
Does it shoot infinite water?
Until it breaks. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, and I do want to put a call out for this because I know Gannon was supposed to be on this episode, had some stuff come up last minute. I know he would call out Super Mario Sunshine the flood unit that Mario uses. So I'll put that out there. Gannon, we'll miss you greatly, but we'll keep the flood alive in your honor.
Dude, I forgot about flood. I love flood so much. Here's the thing. There wasn't a lot of fire in Super Mario Sunshine.
No, it was mostly the like goop, right?
Just paint.
Yeah, it's mostly the ink or the paint or whatever you want to call it. So I didn't think of it, but you're right. It did put out fires. It's flood. It's like a fire putting out backpack. So that's a really good call out. Also, I like how you address Ganon as though he were dead. He was going to be on this episode, but couldn't because he is caring for his children.
He'll be on future
deceased.
episodes through Rituals of Zandomancy.
Yes.
Ganomancy? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Also, I want to call out the fact that Ganon was like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I've got to like take care of my kids," and Brody immediately was like, "Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, I can't be there either. I have to continue playing Diablo."
I mean, okay, I do a video games podcast. I feel like, anyways. Yeah.
So you're saying if this were a
hey,
kids podcast, then Ganon would be okay to skip out on it because he had to take care of kids?
Yeah.
You're saying because it's a video game podcast, you got to skip out because you had to play video games?
Come
here.
on. I'm here.
Listen,
though.
I was going to do the same thing with Street Fighter. I was just more gracious about it.
Touche.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, it's time for our sponsored question. Today we are sponsored by Antacids. I don't know how they work, but goddamn do I need them. All right. What is your favorite spicy food? The spiciest thing that you can handle? I'm going to go first because I'm Polish and we like our food bland and boiled, and I famously cannot handle spicy food. In fact, one time I was at a pool party where my friend Billy was cooking the spiciest thing he knew how to make, which was a dish called Black Sabbath casserole. And I went into the kitchen while he was cooking it, and I had to turn around and leave immediately because the air in the kitchen where he was cooking it was too spicy for me. My eyes were watering so bad that I jumped directly into his pool fully clothed. The line around that time when anyone would do that was, "Billy, warm up the dryer." So yeah, right in the pool, fully clothed. My answer to the spiciest thing that I actually enjoy is the quesadilla sauce from Taco Bell. But that is actually too spicy for me. I literally have to eat it with a side of sour cream that I dip the quesadilla in like it were a cheese sauce, except it's not. It's just sour cream, but that cuts the heat. And that is my absolute limit as to spicy, as to like how spicy I can go. If I try and eat a Taco Bell quesadilla without sour cream, it is a painful experience for me.
In a similar vein, I'm not to the point where I need to leave a room because spicy food's being cooked, but it's just not my thing. It's never been like my wife puts buffalo sauce on everything she can handle. My 2-year-old son also will grab any kind of spicy. He doesn't care. Like when Ben, it's spicy. He's a spice. I want it. So
okay.
I want it.
Yeah, he's the friggin' condiment king, man. We can't have any kind of thing to add to food on the table because he will ask for it all the time without fail, and he'll eat it with a fork instead of like his actual meal. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. Like salsa verde, I think is probably the best thing I can handle. Just it has very minimal spice. That I can handle that. I think of the time kind of just in terms of like times where I had something spicy that I didn't enjoy was a time I went to Potbelly's and mistook their hot peppers for banana peppers. And it ruined my entire day. My lips just like felt like they were burning and it just like it ruined the entire meal. I had to go back to work after it, and I was just in a bad mood the rest of the day.
Yeah, those hot peppers do not fuck around. I was in Chicago a while back getting an Italian beef, and I was like, no peppers, no carrots, because I know they put the carrots in the same sauce as the peppers, so they come out spicy. And the guy looked at me like, wait, none of them? And I'm like, no vegetables. Don't put any vegetables on it. And he's like, so you just want a bun and beef? And I'm like, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. Oh, man. So I clearly knew my audience when I wrote this question. So on the other side of the coin, I actually do like spicy food quite a bit. I'm not going to be the guy who's like, I eat Carolina Reapers for breakfast, because like I'm not that bad. But I got a couple things that I really like. There's a hot sauce called Yucatan Sunshine, which is habanero based, which I really like the kind of bright flavor of that. And there's actually there's a wing place near me that does a habanero flavored thing, habanero garlic wings. It's a hot garlic is the actual flavor from Detroit Wing Co. And I think that's really, really good. My other favorite thing is there's a sandwich at Founders Brewing Company, which now is only in Grand Rapids, which is kind of a bummer, called the Devil Dancer, which has like 3 or 4 different types of peppers and chipotle mayonnaise, and is really, really good. I think the spiciest food I've ever eaten. I was with my in-laws one time outside of Lansing. They found some like Creole restaurant that had, for whatever reason, like a ghost pepper pasta. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And it was the hottest thing I've ever eaten by like a mile and a half. And I ate most of it and regretted it immensely, both that day and the following day.
You blew out your behind.
Oh yeah. My what? Yes,
I said what I said.
Whatever you said, it was accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Founders Brewing, it was definitely a real bummer. For those of you who aren't aware, there used to be a Detroit location, and it had to close because, well, I'm just going to read the headline. Founders Brewing Co. faces another racial discrimination lawsuit as it closes.
Yeah.
So, get your shit together, Founders. I'm glad they're not here anymore, but I am bummed that they were employing people who were doing that sort of shit.
Well, it's a bummer too, because they were always very like pro diversity and pride and stuff in their messaging, but to have that shit happen in a place that's supposed to be really inclusive is mega bummer.
Yes, it definitely is. All right, cool. Anyone got anything else that they want to say about fire? Is the answer no because I said fire weird like that?
Fire! I will say this, that it was mentioned slightly as a footnote to something else, but the Hadouken is so famous. I mean, it was like the very first fighting game special move, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or like the most notable one.
Yeah. We also didn't talk about Scorpion at all. And Scorpion, like, he has the fatality where he'll take his mask off and burn you to death alive.
Yeah, because he's just a demon, right?
Always good.
I mentioned Earthbound and never said anything about PK Fire. That's like a great combo tool in Smash Brothers. You throw the PK Fire, you grab him and throw him to the ground, and then hit him with your jumping attacks for a little bit. Man, that's a good combo.
There's a million different fire things in video games out there. We also didn't talk about the first thing I do when I see a fire in a video game, which is jump into it to see if it's going to hurt me or not.
Nice. You got to know. It's like the same reason why you jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Is there fall damage? Oh,
we didn't talk about games that have the worst fire mechanics, like the Assassin's Creed franchise. There's a million things we didn't talk about when it comes to fire, which means that you should go into the Discord, into the podcast discussion channel, and tell us about your favorite or least favorite things about fire.
Dare we say roast us?
Ooh.
No, we don't. We don't dare.
I think I'm giving Dale a migraine.
Yeah.
Do you need an ambulance?
Oh, I need a Xandolence. It's where Xando just runs you to the hospital.
After throwing water on your butthole.
Yep.
The water on the butthole thing. Always funny. Always funny.
Very confusing. But you know what? I'll be honest. Hot summer day. I've got a bidet. It's refreshing. Can confirm. Absolute ridiculous.
You know, thinking about bidets, maybe I didn't invent Xandomancy. That's I might have to give it to somebody else.
So can you sub in like
if that's the core ritual on which Xandomancy is based on, might have to give it to, I assume, the French.
Yeah.
Can you plug like a can of LaCroix in there or something? Extra refreshing.
When you say in there, where in? What's
I don't
the
know how
in?
that. I don't know how.
No. We
works.
said water on the butthole, not in it. Come on, man. Don't be gross.
So much Xandomancy. We gotta get rid of this. Hey, people can find me in the Discord as Arborescence. Where can they find you guys?
They can find me in the Discord as Xando Calrissian.
They can find me in the Discord and on Twitch as a 20-sided ninja, and in my bathroom practicing Xandomancy probably 2 to 3 times a day.
It's not Dandomancy though. That's just raising fuck yous.
No, man, fuck that.
Fuck Dandomancy. Shit's lame as hell. Oh man. I was hanging out with Dan in the Discord the other day and he was playing Tape to Tape and got a victory. And that game is very hard. So shout out to Dan, but seriously, fuck you, because I don't have a victory yet. All right. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I hope you all have a super okay day. Holy shit, this fell apart. All right. Bye.
Bye. If you're gonna eat the whole butt, you're gonna want it clean. And that's where Xandomancy comes in.